draft an evergreen front-to-back comp and pray and hope for the best. That's my...
Nope, I have completely the opposite advice. Do the insane. Embrace the crazy and see whether you can come out on top. Because honestly, like, right now, it's extenuating circumstances. It's really, really rough for this team. So you may as well just throw as many wrenches as you possibly can at the gears. You're frustrated anyway. You want to be throwing wrenches. It's fine.
Nobody wants to lose a game, though, extremely one-sidedly in Game 1 and have no mental capacity to come back in Game 2 because it fell apart so bad.
Yeah, but think about the mental damage you do to your opponent if you win with the crazy.
I suppose. I mean, you're very optimistic about this.
I just want to see some weird and wonderful League of Legends. That's all I'm into.
Well,
Volleybear to be banned away here as Humbug going to have that one removed.
Humbug likes to play very early games. So does Raptor and try to snowball the game. It's been a very common strategy for him. And so, you know, with the Volleybear popularity right now as it is in LCK and in Challengers, good ban here. As we'll also see Raptor's Lee Sin taken away. His Xin Zhao is his most played.
Yep.
6 games.
Ooh, Karma Ban tells me that Fred and Brian are going to play Zyra Khan. I just have a feeling that that's going to happen.
I have a stronger feeling that they will play Jinx if it's left open here. That's the question. Live Sandbox have a lot they could ban. Twisted Fate, Rise, and Jinx, the 3 priority picks here for blue side.
That's true. There are a lot of things still left up.
Jinx, I think, is the easiest choice to make here as Henna, but he loves his Xayah, as you've mentioned. And also, Lava's Ahri is open. And this is one way to really just dismantle this team completely.
This is also really cool because it denies the Twisted Fate. Ahri has always been a great matchup into the TF, just in general. It is going to give away the Hecarim, but I kind of respect the Ahri being given the priority here because technically you want to select them both in tandem, so if TF was locked in from Fred Brion, then Live Sandbox get the nuts, right? And you don't want to give that over.
The Hecarim pick here denies the potential of that Jinx that I was talking about. I don't think you're going to be picking that into the Hecarim, because that one was also left open. And we've seen Ahri do so extremely well into Hecarim because she could peel for him so well. She can kind of match his speed in team fights and skirmishes. So we'll see, because Fred and Brion now know the Hecarim is here face-up, and I don't think they banned it and didn't pick it first because they had no idea what, you know, is going to be picked here for Hambach. You know, we just don't have a ton of information about this guy. They haven't really been able to prepare. But they will pick the Jinx, actually, so never mind.
I'm not a huge fan of this. It could have just been Zyra Khan. They could have just locked it in. Xayah very, very good into the Hecarim. As 10-10 is doing some hovering, and the Sylas will be locked away. And I really like what Live Sandbox have done so far in the draft.
Yeah, just going to keep it standard. Like, the Sylas pick into Ahri gives you so much speed and so much power. And we'll see what else gets drafted here, but it can be a strong laning matchup, too, if it's played correctly. And when you have a Hecarim on your side, you have a lot of power both in mid here and also in the bottom side of the map. Because now you want to remove some of the safety for the Jinx, take away the Tahm Kench. Velios removed, of course. That's what you definitely want here as Live Sandbox to shore up your late game damage. The easiest AD carry pick. Considering the Leona that's also locked in over even the Nautilus, I think that's definitely a pretty easy call.
Yep, I think that Kai'Sa needs to be banned here by Fred Brion. We've seen it be so good in these Hecarim compositions.
I think they definitely will.
It's definitely highest on the list, in my opinion. Thresh, likely a ban here as well, but the Gwen is going to be given the majority of the attention. Wanted to take that one away from Morgan. Jace is banned. Oh, man.
Well, I don't mind the Jace ban here because it is one of the strongest line picks you could grab. Save the AD carry for last if you wanted to keep it hidden. And also, it's very strong with the composition they have. You know, it shores up some of the range issue here so far. As it will be taken off the board, and we will see the Kai'Sa. I think the Kai'Sa ban was definitely the stronger ban option here. I don't hate the Jace, but it does give Live Sandbox a pretty easy opportunity.
Yeah, and I don't think that you're ever, like, Morgan could just pick the Jace, right? And it fits quite well into Fred Brion's composition if you can keep your opponent at arm's length. And this case, you just run into Live Sandbox perfectly crafted dive composition, right?
Renekton and Rakan.
Ooh, Renata could be the
Renata
option here. Of course,
super good.
And also Renata just in general is good into what Kai'Sa wants to do, just with the fact that she wants to blow you up, get you isolated. If you can get that bailout on top of the Jinx, then it can theoretically work. We saw it attempted in our previous series, but it is, you know, still getting figured out, I guess.
With the Sylas pick early, you feel pretty comfortable grabbing a Gnar here too. Like, you've got Sylas on your side, you're having this 5th pick Gnar. Like, there's nothing weak about this Gnar pick as long as there isn't a heavy committal to the top side of the map to try to punish him, because Renekton into Gnar is a matchup where if you have some strong help, you can chain CC and blow the Gnar up repeatedly. It'll be Howling's debut here in the LCK. Said it was a dream of his to finally get to play on the LCK stage, so circumstances aside, I'm sure he's very excited to go up against Morgan, one of our more storied Renekton players here. But look, there's no Twisted Fate, there's no Rise, and if he lanes well into the Renekton and plays passively, he has a Hecarim on his side, he should be able to get to the mid to late game pretty safely. And then Liv Sandbox's comp really excels in the mid game with the Kai'Sa, Sylas, once they start getting a few items online.
I mean, I love Liv Sandbox's comp. I don't know whether I'm a huge fan of the Gnar, but I love the composition outside of that. So much dive. We've seen teams like DRX do very, very well with compositions like this, but you slap on the nameplates and things become a little bit more muddy, right?
Yeah.
Freddebrion certainly with just Raptor subbing in for Umpty, who is unfortunately out with COVID. The rest of the team is still there, right? We've got Delight's Rakan, which is his signature pick. You've got Morgan's Renekton, his signature pick. You just talk to Munchables about it. I'll tell you for days.
I think even without the nameplates here, I do like overall the composition of Freddebrion more. I think Liv Sandbox have a comp that works on paper, and if they can figure out the coordination, maybe we could have a close game here, but Ahri has so much power into this composition. It's going to be such a great utility champ into all this run-in, all this heavy dive. See if they can pull it off. Liv Sandbox in a tough situation.
Yeah, certainly. Nameplate's going to be a big deal. And Freddebrion making their way out onto the Rift. Let's keep a bit of a microscope on Raptor and how he's doing. I know there's a lot of Umpty fans out there. I am included in that list because he's been playing for so long. And also, he's just a really nice guy. Speaks great English as well. So we get to have a chat to him. And that's really, really cool. But not going to be playing here today, and it's Rascal. It's Raptor. It's going to be the one. As I said Rascal because I saw a Renekton. Rascal also, congratulations on 900 kills in the LCK from our previous series. Really cool stuff.
Yep. Well, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. The Freddebrion effect of going to the late game and fighting over an Elder to decide the game, it's not something this comp necessarily wants to rely on, considering the fact that, yes, they do have a Jinx, but if they get to the late game where they're not massively ahead with this Renekton pick, it's also going to be tough to pull that one off. The Gnar will have a lot more turn if he can manage his Gnar bar correctly, that is. And yeah. Howling, you know, we talked to Chronicler about him earlier before this match, and he's kind of been considered a mini Summit because he was playing under Summit throughout all of last year for Liv Sandbox, and him picking up the Gnar here as a result is not a big shocker. It's one of the champions he's played the most in Challengers and in Scrims, you know, behind Summit, in the lead up to this first time he gets to play here in the LCK.
Just have to see how he's going to do. He's in a decent matchup right now. Got the counter pick. Was given that one over. As Lava is just going to walk up to 10-10. This is sort of how things are going to go in this matchup early. You think that after some ultimates have been hit and some skirmishes have gone down, then the Sylas is going to be a little bit happier.
Yeah, and there's a lot of kill pressure around both of these jugglers, actually, with the really awesome power they have to chain the CCs together. This is a Raptor. The snowballs very well, as we've talked about earlier in the draft. Yep, one of the strongest parts of the Challengers team, but it's a very young and inexperienced team.
It's true, but there's a reason why I was called up, right? And that is, you know, to celebrate that this guy has been performing well down in Challenger. So that is why there were no emergency call-ups that had to happen. And yeah, certainly good news here for Raptor. He's on it's a difficult test, right? Because we've seen Viegos be really feast or famine in the LCK. They have worked. We've actually seen them banned as recently as yesterday. But sometimes they just fall flat on their face. And I think that into Liv Sandbox's comp, it's so dangerous here for Freddebrion because they just like this is actually kind of beautiful from Liv Sandbox, in my opinion. Just because dive is so simple. You say go and you go. And Ahri Charm, who cares? You're unstoppable. when you're ulting in as the Hecarim, so it doesn't really matter that they have this single target pick, because if Humbug is there and he goes in, there should be the follow-up that you do have available with things like Killer Instinct, the long range of, you know, 10-10 who's got Spirit Rush and can dive into a backline as well. And that is definitely really cool. As, yep, 10-10 used to be a Talon one-trick. As, you know, some of our best players in the league used to be Assassin one-tricks. I'm talking about, you know, Showmaker's Katarina and things like this. As Humbug is going to get, yeah, Drive by Charmed. 10-10 takes the brunt of the harassment, though, as that was weird.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, this is what I was talking about before the Chronicler comments started coming in, is the fact that the Ahri Charm plus Viego stun is extremely powerful if you can land it, right? If you can make those happen together. But then on the opposite side, the Hecarim charge into a setup for 10-10 to actually land his stun, get those chains to connect. So a lot of volatility in this matchup. The fact that the Ahri has push early allows her to make aggressive plays like that, look for charms, harass and push that health bar back. We will have the mid laners both backing here and returning to lane. Lava did take the Ignite, really hoping to snowball this one with the Viego. And as much as the Unstoppable is great for Humbug's ult and how powerful the dive is here, I think that Fred and Brion have so much amazing peel, and their pick comp that works well with Jinx is super powerful. If they just get even one kill for the Jinx, he gets excited, and Envy will not be able to keep up with that damage in the later parts of the game. He's just kind of a one-and-done burst, right? So there are ways for this to work for Live Sandbox, but there are ways to counter it, as Fred and Brion's comp kind of allows for here. So it's going to be about execution, but I think the ease of execution is definitely better for Fred and Brion, not only in their comp, but also in the fact that they have mostly the same roster they've been preparing for these important matches with the entire time.
I mean, absolutely. Nameplates will play a big part in this particular matchup. As Lava going to eat some chains here. 10-10's going to be throwing around. And as we can see, has decent win rate on this Sylas as well. But otherwise, yeah, it's the win rates aren't super fantastic. These are his most played champions in the Talon, the Lucian, the Ryze, and the Ahri. So he's an eclectic player. Looking forward to seeing how he's going to do here. As right now, getting shoved in, he's going to be behind in farm. It's just how it's going to work.
Humbug here, you know, did clear some vision, so he was on it for a second, but otherwise had an opportunity to maybe try to turn this mid push around. And as you can see, he's more of the experimental jungler, as Chronicler pointed out. You can see he likes his Volibear. Saw that in the draft. Diana, Jarvan, something that, you know, everyone who watches challenges is a little bit more familiar with, but now seeing him in his first opportunity, now on the Hecarim. Big shoes to fill, as, you know, we talked about Raptor. The thing about Raptor's champion pool is it's not as important to look at this as it is to think about what Fred and Brion lose from the fact that they lose umpty shot callers. Like, it's not about, like, oh, is this the champion for Raptor? I think it's more about the fact that he's not the leader for this team, and someone's going to have to pick up slack. Probably Lava, you would have to imagine, or Delight.
The LoL King might need to get in there. The Lord may also, you know, come down and bequeath us with his amazing insight. But we'll just have to see how Fred and Brion's going to go. Certainly less of an issue for them just because it isn't as much.
Who can stop
change? Who can stop? Well, maybe it's the Lord himself. We'll have to see. Right now, it's not necessarily happening as things are very even there on the top side.
Steel caps traded, very, very slow-paced lane. Without any help from junglers, neither of these players will have a lot of kill pressure. You know, Renekton can, if he gets lucky, if there's a misplay from Howling, force something to happen, and it is Morgan, but so far it's been pretty quiet. As Humbug is going to go ahead and start this Drake up with the prio they have bottom side. And it doesn't look like Fred and Brion are actually poised to stop this. They're rotating over a little bit slow.
Yep, double wards are going to go in there as Raptor might go for a steal, but it doesn't actually happen. It is going to be the first Drake delivered. No Cloud Souls so far today. It makes me very, very sad. Makes everybody else quite pleased. As that first one goes, second one will be a Cloud, and we do have some Infernal options potentially, but also some mountains or some oceans, which are less exciting, but certainly some would say better than Clouds.
Howling is going to hit his Narbar early here. Won't have it for the upcoming Rift Herald fight, but can he turn this into a play?
We'll see. Morgan just happily harassing him as, okay, the Wallop's going to land. It's dangerous, but it's not actually going to connect.
They're just not going to start this Herald off either. Lava had enough prio to rotate up, and 10-10 can't get in there. Humbug just going to sit back and farm, and it's a trade of bot duos down here, neither rotating up faster. So this Herald is just going to, for the most part, be ignored, especially with Fredit Brion's pick potential they have in this comp. I respect that Liv Sandbox are going to sit back here and wait for a better opportunity. It's actually going to be, looks like, started up here from Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan's going to pick it up. Raptor's going to come on over there. And with, yeah, it's the mid prio playing around it. Getting over here, we'll be able to lock this one down. I like this proactive play from Fredit Brion.
And Howling had just used his Gnar bar, so Mega Gnar was not going to be available, so he couldn't actually chase or try to push Morgan back. So Morgan has a little bit of prio up there on the top side, pushes this through. Lava has prio mid, they collapse in. And Liv Sandbox are, I don't want to say they're happy to sit back and farm on the bottom side of the map, but they have a little bit of control there too. So not the end of the world for them, it's a slightly delayed Herald here. But something is going to have to start happening for Liv Sandbox on the map. You know, they did get the first Drake. Well, they're not looking for a fight just yet.
That's a -1. That's actually, that's not an unforced error though. That was some zoning being done by Lava. I like that a lot. That's the right kind of cannon to be missed, you know, the actually interesting ones.
Denied.
Players have to actually play around. There's a cute little train going to be utilized here.
Yeah, little train spin. There's a little rock to sit on as well. Analyzing all the backs here, but
definitely the important stuff. We're really getting into it.
The fights here for Liv Sandbox, I mean, the more I look at this comp, like, it's going to be so hard to pull it off because if you try to Silas engage as a charm, the Hecarim flanks can be pretty easily shut down by a Renekton or an Ahri who catches you first. Can't really do much with the Leona angle because you're going to be taking so much range damage from the Jinx as you're trying to approach. This could be an opportunity.
Yeah, we do manage to find some chompers though, and that is First Blood going to the Jinx. This is disaster territory as now they're chasing down the members of Liv Sandbox. Voidseeker is going to come through, but the horse that was transformed is going to fall down immediately. Both horses crashing in the first time of asking. 10-10's going to go down though. And all of the anime fans in the chat get very upset.
Yeah, well, that's the end of this early game for Liv Sandbox. Unfortunately, they're looking for a play here off of the Leona, but the turn is so good for Fredit Brown. The peel, the ability to just, I mean, they have so much utility in this composition, it's insane, and they do this without Ahri at the outset of the fight, but then Lava joins in, and it's super easy. Great play from Raptor there. Stealing the horse early, helping them get the chase on, and actually getting a lot of those kills secured. And now it's 2,500 gold to lead before Herald crashes into turrets. Delight's here, so you feel an opportunity as Kale. You sweep him, you see him there, you don't see anyone behind him, but there is a lot behind him. You don't have any vision of where Henna is, where the enemy jungler is, and Raptor just goes ahead and sets up his W stun. And Envy, you know, probably don't want to try to turn on this. They have a solar flare, but like the rest of everybody's coming over here. Ahri's coming over. You're a melee mid as Silas. You can't turn this one around. It went from bad to worse there, but again, it's just the coordination problems this team is going to face tonight. Just frankly.
Yeah. There was a lot of one person fighting and everybody else running away on the side of Liv Sandbox, which was not exactly the way you want to see it. But also, I think trying to get away was definitely the right call, just not exactly working out.
It's really hard.
Yeah. Clear calls are very important, and that was a bit of a fiesta in the jungle, but the result is a 2-0-1 Jinx.
And that's a problem?
Yeah, it's exactly what Fredit Brion wanted from this early stage of the game. It's actually earlier than they expected to be gifted it. And now it's a 2,000 gold lead for a team comp that is going to excel in the mid-game. And that is a real worry here for Liv Sandbox.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Divine Sunder is already up here for Raptor, too, just gives him so much power around these skirmishes. And they're definitely going to even up the Drakes here 1-to-1. Liv Sandbox would be foolish to try to fight this one out. If Fredit Brion go over there, they just need to give this one up. At least they have a little bit of a buffer in that first Drake they took, but this comp isn't arguably better in the late game unless it's ahead, as Morgan has his ult.
Yeah, he's going to get the stun there onto Howling as well. Conqueror is going to get procced, but Boomerang is going to keep the Crocodile at arm's length, at least for the moment, but Morgan's having a really good time here, as we can see. I think he saw, like, Rascal have the great game on the Renekton. He's like, guys, I can do it, right? I can do it too, right?
So good comp for it, that's for sure. This is going to be full plates to Henna.
Oh my goodness, that is bad news, Bears. Tumbuk is also trying to run away.
And they group up here, they lose nothing for it. They force 10-10 over here, and then they can just back off to the Drake while trying to get a second charge and deny some farm here from Envy. They could steal away this blue buff. And then grouping up like this and just leaving the Renekton on the top side of the map while he also has teleport is just so easy to do. If Liv Sandbox were able to try to turn this, he could teleport in and defend. as at least 10-10 will get a wave pushed in.
Well, Howling's also going to try and hunt down the Crocodile, but not going to work. Astronaut, no, just going to eat some honey fruit and try and get what he can, as Delight has spotted the rest of Liv Sandbox coming on over. Humbug does have his ultimate available, but he's not going to go in by himself. One of the biggest problems with the Hack Room is sometimes you press your R button and there's nobody else that can actually follow. Another Infernal Soul.
Yeah, it's been so many this week.
Yeah, I really feel like it's transitioned. I really liked McLeod's, but I just got a lot of Infernal.
You were, I mean, I think it was 40 ahead when I checked at the beginning of this week. And then it was also like 40 ahead Ocean, so you're still going to have your #1 spot for a while yet, I would say.
Very happy.
But I don't think any of us were really worried about that. As Fredit Breon now in a position to, I mean, look at all these items coming online. Lava finally gets his Mythic, and he's going to have more peel and more utility in these upcoming fights. The gold graph is really ballooning here very early on in this game.
It's so rough. It's so rough. Just because now Henna is so far ahead. Like, look at this. Kraken Slayer already online. I mean, yeah, Envy does have his as well. And he has a decent farm lead, so that is certainly good news. But there is a lot of money to be funneled towards this Jinx.
Yeah, I mean, she also finished her call, so shoring up a lot of that gold difference in the CS. Yeah, will take the lead.
I think Henna is sitting on a bunch of money.
Yeah, he is.
Is what I'm thinking, because the items don't really make sense
Doesn't add up
for the advantage that he managed to collect.
Probably back as soon as they end up winning this Rift Herald fight. That's the plan. Anyways, Liv Sandbox do currently have Prio, and the choke point's controlled by them, but you don't want to walk into this choke point. You just want to slowly back away with control ward vision, start the Herald, and then get ready to turn. Howling's almost with his Narbar. 100% winnable fight here for Liv Sandbox, so they play it right.
Yeah, and they've got the 5 members already here, and I think that Fredit Breon just shouldn't go for this fight. They are going to teleport in. They're looking to fight for Shirley here. They want to try and take this one. As Raptor goes into the fog of war, is going to try and get out here as well, but the Solar Flare is going to land. Oh no! The Onslaught of Shadows really does not quite do enough, as Morgan's now trying to escape, and Lava picks up the first kill of the fight. It's a fantastic charm to connect, but Envy's able to use his cleanse and get himself out of the way. The rest of the team, though, not going to be so lucky. Another charm lands, as Lava is looking to grab yet more points for his player of the game standings. He's sitting at 900 right now as 10-10. Gonna get charmed up. That is 3 in a row for this Ahri player, and they'll transition into this outer turret top lane.
The Lava passes Henna in terms of total damage done in the team fight, technically speaking, because he's the one who goes and cleans up those kills, but this fight was all about Henna, completely untouched in the backside of this team fight with all of the peel, all of the pressure. And the start of this fight is a little bit wonky here for Fredit Breon, because they're trying to steal the Herald away with the Rocket. Doesn't work out. Then the first charm is onto the Leona. So the turnaround here for Liv Sandbox is pretty great, but the follow-up engage from Delight is immaculate. And then Lava's ready for another charm here, and then the Jinx gets excited and is ready to just continue to chase. She does so much damage in this fight, and then of course Lava will pass him because he ends up getting these last 2 kills. But they are able to push into this turret, get the Herald basically denied. Yes, it was taken. I'm not sure if the eye was picked up, but regardless, where are you going to find a place to put that on this map? It's picked up by Kale. Good luck with this one.
Well, if the Herald does get a turret, at least they get money for it. Because I know it's 16 minutes into this game, but it's already a bounty available for Fredit Breon. His comp snowballs very, very effectively. Champions like the Viego, we've mentioned it before, they're very good from ahead. And Fredit Breon really capitalizing on the situation here. Void Seeker to come out from Envy just to try and clear out what scraps of minions he can get. And these turrets are really just going to start falling. Henna's actually feeling himself here as he's chasing by himself into 3 people, but...
Well, if he can draw the pressure mid lane, maybe they could actually get a pick onto 10-10 on the top side, but he's actually being respectful. Obviously, there's a lot of standing gold on the map with 3 outer turrets here that are bountied at the moment. And in 40 seconds, that Drake will also be bountied. So Liv Sandbox, the gold lead here for Fredit Breon is massive, as we mentioned, but if they really drop the ball, which doesn't seem like it, but if they do, there's a window back in. But I like the respect that Liv Sandbox still show here, because they're not just going to try to force a crazy amount of fights for no reason to try to get back into this. Like moves like this give you Drake Prio. Okay, this is a solid plan.
Yeah, Delight's trying to get some vision down. He's on vision himself, as now 1010's rotating over. All 5 members down here looking to try and grab that bounty gold. I like the idea. Fred and Brion are going to answer with an inner turret in the mid lane, potentially. But it looks like we're going to be fighting for this Drake first. There's Morgan in position, but on a ward.
Got to be so decisive in this moment, Live Sandbox. Got to look for the perfect fight. Howling's going to have his Narbar available.
This is dangerous. Henna is now grouped up with the team as the tower is going to come through. That one's collected by the Rift Herald. Super Mega Death Rocket eaten by Envy, as Fred and Brion do pick up the aggro on this dragon. It is going to be secured and just brute forced. Live Sandbox now going to try and find their way out.
Yeah, I mean, Live Sandbox don't have range damage. Unfortunately, they have a Kai'Sa who can occasionally throw out that Void Seeker, but that's it. Otherwise, you have to go all in. When Fred and Brion are this far ahead, they just nuke you. They blow you up as you approach them with all the stuns and CC they have in their favor. And even though 1010 is holding the Rakan ultimate there, he's like, well, is it worth it? Like, instead, let's just back off. It's not sole point. In fact, it's not, you know, it's not a massive point in the game where Fred and Brion getting this Drake is going to be a big game changer. You got the bounty on the bottom turret with Kale charging the Rift Herald in. Take your small victories where you can and back away. If you end up losing this fight, Fred and Brion, I mean, they might get an inhibitor at this stage. So I appreciate the decision not to go in. You need vision control, which they're not going to have for a long time, but they definitely didn't have it there.
They're not going to have vision control, Wolf, until game 2, I don't think.
Well, I mean, if there's a mistake, like, right? But this was not their moment.
Yeah, it's a real rough one for Live Sandbox. I kind of like to see a bit more desperation, as that was a sick Captain Jack there from Henna. Able to use that and get himself out of the way, but that is still cleansed down. So keep that in mind for the next potential fight, as Everfrost going to come through. The Love Heart's going to go wide. So now Raptor might need to get himself out of here. His mist goes onto a different wall, but it's going to be all right. Morgan now just going to split on the bottom side. No teleport available for the Renekton. And so Fred and Brion going to have to play a little bit respectfully, or maybe they don't, because they have so much more money than their opposition.
Yeah, they're just going to group up here, remove some of this vision, can confirm where everybody is. So Light's like, can I go on this? We'll just quill him and he'll actually just barely get away. But with all the deep vision here, you could, in theory, just push this mid wave and start the Baron, and there's just nothing Live Sandbox can do about it.
Yep, Humbug, he's real dead. Gonna get stabbed mid-onslaught of Shadows, and Raptor is going to pick up a horse with a crown. That's absolutely adorable. But that means that there's no jungler. That means that it's time for Baron. And it looks like another day in the office here for Fred and Brion.
Yep. The pick on the Hecarim wasn't required, but now it means there's no steal opportunity whatsoever. And with no wave here, because they guaranteed the mid wave was pushing, like they can't even get that bounty on the mid turret. There's nothing on the map for you. There's absolutely no opportunities. There is just a big fat 0. And yeah, this one is all over but the crying, because if Fred and Brion make one mistake and Live Sandbox get vision, maybe they can use this comp. Maybe the dive will work, but at this stage, like, yeah, not even the Hecarim is safe. He tries to ult out. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Maz.
All the other 5 horses made it out, but the real horse didn't. Oh, God. Oh, 9,000 gold at 21 minutes. One of the largest early leads that we've seen so far.
It really is.
Feels like a product of circumstance.
It really does. I mean, there's no way to like try to tell you guys the fake story here. I mean, there's an elephant in the room, and there's a few missing players for Live Sandbox, and you know, this is just not the series that we were supposed to have today, but it's a really important one for both of these teams, and we know who's getting the better end of this first game.
Exactly. Fred and Brion moving towards a historic win record, but you could imagine that this is not the way even they want to do it. That being said, a win's a win, and Live Sandbox, these are still good players. They're just not as practiced together, right? And you can't talk about just the individual in situations like this, because these teams play together for so long. If you watched recently the Horizon interview with Joe Marsh, he was talking about the fact that T1, they decided to keep their players together so that they could build on the synergy that they already made last year, and we've seen the results of that, right?
Yep.
It's very, very important, as we're going to have a team fight break out here. Onslaught of Shadows comes in. Henna is going to stopwatch it. Flashes immediately. They do manage to pick up the Jinx. as the horse is traded, but you'll probably take that as Liv Sandbox. Maybe not if you lose your Gnar as well, as the rest of Liv Sandbox are on the run. Lava is still alive, finds the charm, but it's onto Leona. He does go golden in the end, and Envy has to be the hero. Killer Instinct going to be used. He dives on top of the Ahri. That was definitely a bit hypey, but I liked it. Still, they are going to get aced, and it's looking like Fred and Brianna are going to march up the mid lane.
I mean, even with the perfect team fight here for Liv Sandbox, the best opportunity they were ever going to get. I do think this is also draft advantage to Fred and Brianna. I liked what Liv Sandbox put together considering the circumstances, but Fred and Brianna got everything they wanted. It's comfort, as you mentioned earlier, for Lava, for Morgan, right? And delight on Rakan. I mean, what else do we have to say? It's a tough time, because even though this engage looks really nice and they get on top of Henna, he's got stopwatch. And then the Rakan ult comes out from the Sylas and 10-10 gets into the backline, but then the turn is just so easy here for Fred and Brianna. They have the better items, they're ahead at this point. And then this is also a comp that requires your engage to get enough kills to where you just win by war of attrition. And when you're down with 3 members left against so much chase and so much CC, like there is no escape route, there's no way out of here, you're dead. It's an ace, and that's probably the last nail in the coffin here. That is Liv Sandbox.
There are a lot of nails in this coffin. It's starting to feel pretty crowded with the amount of nails that are being delivered.
And truly shut, let's just say.
Yeah, in fact, the lid, I think, is just made out of nails. Have you seen those YouTube videos where like people use like metallurgy to like make things out of strange things? Like he made a knife out of an old spoon. And they like
that sounds
down
cool.
The
no, I haven't.
It's kind of like, it's sort of like watching an ASMR video, right? You like turn your brain off and just watch something cool. I don't even know what that reference was for. I feel like this game is so over my brain melted.
Oh no, 10-10 is about to get 1v1.
Well, we're going to do some classic Hecarim, but thankfully there is a Kai'Sa there to follow up. That's what this composition is supposed to do, and let's see whether they can kill Morgan. This Crocodile just went 1v3. That is how incredibly far ahead this team is. It's a double kill for Morgan. The Lord has spoken, and this game will be finished. Can we get a Renekton pentakill? I don't think so. I would like it to happen, but it's not going to happen. It was stolen by Raptor, who turned into 10-10. I got very confused by the nameplates, but Morgan was denied his penta. The Lord has been refused.
There's a wave pushing topside here, but the lack of experience for Liv Sandbox actually means that they have pretty low death timers here, so they will respawn, and I don't think the game will end.
Oh, I thought you were talking about lack of experience of the play.
Nah, I mean, these guys are experienced, just not with each other.
No, but like, you're actually right, but on both fronts.
Yeah.
It's the in-game experience that you were referring to.
Yeah, their death timers are pretty short, so the game will not end here. But once again, Liv Sandbox looking for a great engage on the Henna. They are successful, right? So like, these are the moments where you see that they know what their comp is supposed to do, they know how to do it, and they can't execute on it. But like you said, Renekton 1v3 because he's so fed, and these players they've dove in deep, and there's no longevity with this comp. Like, you go and you blow somebody up, but then you're like Kai'Sa trying to kite back an auto. Like, what are you going to do?
I mean, yes, obviously you do that. And then they have, like, theoretically, right, at that point, Henna's dead, Morgan's dead, it's 5 versus 3, and they win. Like, you can see why Liv Sandbox's comp is so good. It's just when the wallets are this heavy, you get 1v3'd by a Crocodile.
And also, I mean,
it's so sad.
Fred and Brianna were also like very much trying to fish for something with this move, like trying to bait it out and trying to win these fights by, I mean, 17 kills to 3. It's a bit of a sad one, honestly. Like, I don't think we've cast a lot of these weird COVID games, and I know we got the Genji versus T1 technically like not the full rosters twice, and it was very sad, but this one is like on the next level. Like, this is just
and it's just the timing, right? Like we've seen a few of these where like it gets announced like a few days prior, right? Like in the case of Ruler, that was what happened. It was a couple of days, and we heard whispers of Ruler's not going to be able to play, and we're like, oh, that sucks, but at least he can mentally prepare for it. This, we had sheets of paper that said Croco was still playing on them today, right? That is how short notice
Ice
it was.
as well. I mean, Ice was also very last minute, so this is it. Last fight of the game. Liv Sandbox going to come over here and see if they can steal a miracle.
Yeah. Well, Morgan is lying in wait. The Crocodile is in the reeds, as he does have the stun primed. I'm going to use it. They were looking for the turn, but they are just going to back away. They don't need the Baron to win this game. They just need to kill all the members of Liv Sandbox, as that's the aim. As Lava doesn't find the charm, Solar Flare goes wide as well. The Spirit Rush is really good to get out of the way of the onslaught of shadows. Raptor goes golden, then he just gets out of there. It's a 4-man Gnar, but it does not matter. It's a double kill for Lava. Delight dies in celebration for the victory of this game, as 1010 will be wiped out. Henna gets excited, but he's been excited for quite a while, and it's about time that they do manage to get some payoff here as, yeah, Humbug, let's see whether he can actually get anything done here as Henna is going to flash on him, and that's kind of the position of this game right now.
It certainly is. I mean, not much else to say on this one. It's really unfortunate. We're going to say that a few more times because this is only game 1, and they get a reset in game 2, and maybe that goes better.
Yeah. Nice little supercharger there from Envy. Tries to get himself out of the way. Oh, no. He was, like, traveling through the air. Meanwhile, he's getting stunned by Renekton, and then turns up and can do nothing about it. Raptor, nice little flash there to get out of the way of Kale, but now the Nexus will go down. It's 28 minutes into a game that was over at 14 minutes. Not sure how we made it to double that time, but we did.